Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, has been reveling at the success of President Muhammadu Buhari, who just last week finally fought off the challenge of his major rival, Atiku Abubakar, of the main opposition People's Democratic Party at the Election Petitions Tribunal, or so it seems for now, giving the impending challenge of that tribunal decision at the Supreme Court. But at the moment, APC is being made to work overtime in a bid to remain united, following intra-party opposition in some of its state chapters. That will be our takeoff point as we link up with our Arise Abuja studio for a chat with Chief George Moghalu, the National Auditor of the All Progressives Congress. We also intend to take him up on a number of other issues of national significance. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you.
So let's start with your reaction to the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, in which obviously we all know that President Muhammadu Buhari emerged victorious.
Yeah, as expected, we're happy about it. We're excited that the tribunal reaffirmed the fact that our candidate, the president, won the election. So we're happy about it.
That's good to hear. What are your thoughts on Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, and the PDP taking this case further to the Supreme Court? Do you think that this is a waste of money, as many people claim, or do you think that it's just them believing that they are playing to the rule of law or adhering to the rule of law that they stand for?
The truth is that actually is their choice to make, is their decision to make. The truth about it is that they have an opportunity to exercise their right if they feel that they have a case that they want to argue further, that the only way they can get satisfaction is by going to the Supreme Court. Then you can't stop them. It's a matter of their right. It's a matter of doing what they would like to do. But for some of us, we think that we should all come together. The important thing here is that Nigeria is the issue. We should all come together, give support to the winner of the elections and encourage him and support him so that Nigerians can be better. I've always said it that in a democracy like this, that both the party in government and the opposition both are in government. One is in government to keep to the promises made in the course of electioneering, and the other is in government to make sure that those promises that were made are kept. So that if both groups are living up to expectation, the beneficiaries are the Nigerian people. So for me, we should move forward. We should not waste our time and resources and remove whatever distraction that may be placed on the way of the president. But the truth about it is that it is their choice to make, and the Supreme Court is there to receive any petition or any complaints, to address it, adjudicate over it through the legal process. So it's actually entirely their choice to make.
So let's look at the intra-party challenges that seem to be arising within the APC ranks. I'll start with Bayelsa State. You had David Lyon emerge as the winner of the primaries, the APC primaries for Bayelsa State. He's clinched the ticket. But there's been a considerable amount of rancor, especially expressed by former ministers and Senator Heineken Lukpobri and also Engineer Aganaba. They've queried quite fundamental issues, such as the venue of the primaries at a hotel and not at the APC secretariat. Also, where was the returning officer? It was not the governor of Yobe State, as was expected. What is the PDP, APC at the national level doing to address this issue, especially because we all know that the South-South is a PDP stronghold? What are you doing to address these internal issues so that you'll be in a position of strength as you face the incumbent PDP at the polls in November?
Like I've always said, APC, like every human organization, issues like this certainly will come up because you're talking about people's interests and people's ambitions. The truth about it is that we have a process. We have an internal mechanism to resolve issues like this. And that is why we have the appeals committee that is looking at the issues raised by those who contested the election, all the aspirants. So I would like to say that such complaints, important as they may sound, will go through the normal administrative process, which includes, but not limited to, the appeal panel looking at the petitions, looking at the issues raised, and make their recommendations to the National Working Committee for a final decision to be taken.
Also, why did APC boycott the local government elections in Bayelsa State that was held in August? APC boycotted it and PDP swept the board. So now all local government executives are from PDP. You also have an incumbent governor. That strengthens PDP's position. Why was that decision taken to boycott?
I think it's a decision of the state. The state structure may have taken that decision, and they must have done that based on the information available to them, or the evidences they have on ground for which they consider that going to the elections may be a waste of their time. I really don't have the facts as to why they took that decision. But for them to take a decision of this magnitude must have been based on empirical evidence that you can't fault.
Okay, Chief Moghalu, let's move over to Edo State for a second. We have elections coming up there soon as well. And as we know, for quite a while now, there have been serious tensions within the state, especially because of the rift between the current governor and the national chairman of the APC. For the sake of our viewers, I'd like us to backtrack a bit. Let's speak about the initial issues that have led to the problem that we saw. Because, of course, we also know that there was a point in time where these issues seemed to have digressed as well. We were told that things were okay, that the governor had even visited Oshiomhole in his country home within the state. What were the initial reasons for issues between the governor and the ex-governor stroke national chairman?
I would rather say that both the national chairman, that's the former governor of the state, and the incumbent governor have all spoken elaborately on the issues at stake. And what I can say for now, confidently, is that we are getting to a point of resolution of all the issues at stake. It's more of a family issue, more of a procedural issue, disagreement. And like I said, APC is a human organization. Interests will certainly clash, ambitions will clash. The way I would like to do something may be entirely different the way you would like to do it. Both of us may be wanting to do the same thing to arrive at the same conclusion. But the process may differ. And it requires talking, it requires consultation, it requires meeting at a point to agree on a point of getting to a point of agreement, so that issues like that will be resolved. But I'm very confident that issues are almost being resolved and the consultations are still ongoing.
Well, we certainly hope so, since Edo State is the only foothold that APC has in the South-South as of now. And we all saw the way internal rifts cost APC in Imo, Zamfara, and River State. But now I'm going to go to Kogi State. In stark contrast to the situation in Bayelsa State, APC is in a position of strength in Kogi State. With the incumbent governor, you have 7 out of 9 House of Reps members, 2 out of 3 senators from APC. So all is looking good on the APC front in Kogi State. However, INEC's REC has warned of the possibility of violence in Kogi State. What is your comment on that?
No, I endorse the position of the REC that we should, whatever we can do as politicians to make sure that we don't unnecessarily overheat the system, that violence is not acceptable. We have zero tolerance for violence as a political party. And I am confident that our candidate, the incumbent governor, and our members in Kogi State are conscious of this fact. You see, you started by saying that we are in very good state in Kogi State, which is a statement of fact. So why would we want to now throw away the opportunity we have in our hands? So I am confident that anything we are expected to do to make sure that we have free, fair, credible process that will throw up the candidate that the people of Kogi State will call their own. We are all for it.
Okay, and as National Auditor of the APC, what advice would you give to citizens that are going out to vote in the respective states that we have spoken about over the next couple of weeks, months?
My prayer and my appeal, rather, to citizens of both Kogi, Bayelsa, and even other states that are yet to hold elections is be guided by your conscience. Don't allow yourself to be induced by anybody. Whoever is encouraging you to do violence, ask him or her to bring her children or his children to participate in the process. So don't let anybody use you. Go exercise your franchise, be there, get the results counted so that your vote will count. The important thing, this is a democratic process where number matters. So, and that is why for us as a political party, once campaign starts, we are going to campaign extensively in those 2 states. Precisely, we are going to, for Kogi, we are going to present our report card for the Kogi people to see and see a basis to justify the position they gave to us in the last 4 years. Same thing is applicable to Bayelsa. We are going to present alternative options, excuse me, with regards to what is happening on the ground now, and then provide alternatives for the Bayelsa people to consider. But I'm very confident that with the information we are having, the consultations that are going on, the campaigns, the meetings that are being held, that APC will come out doing well in those 2 states.
Now, can we talk about the functions of the APC staff committee, audit committee, of which you are a member as national auditor, obviously? 2 members did not show up for the verification exercise. It had to be aborted. What is the resistance to that? It seems like common sense to actually audit who is working for APC, have a look at their certificates and verify them and what have you. Only yourself and the national women's leader turned up. What's going on there?
Well, I think it is an internal committee of the party to look at our staff. It's an administrative process. It's not intended to do anything untoward. It's important that we know who are working for us, or their particular designations relating them to the particular functions they are doing now. So for us, it's just an internal administrative check and balance, which is expected in an organization like ours, a human organization that human beings operate, human beings run. You need to know who are your staff. You need to know their responsibility. You need to encourage them. You need to hear your staff. You need to talk with them so that they can also air their views. You need to provide an opportunity, an enabling environment for them to express themselves. And I think principally that's what we set out to achieve. And it's an ongoing process that some of us were unable to attend the meeting of the verification of the committee and the day of verification. Is nothing special. It may be, like I know, 1 or 2 of them had reasons not to be there. If people have emergencies, personal emergencies, that interfere with time, with regards to when they're expected to be somewhere, you cannot wave that away with the left hand.
Please hold that thought, Chief Moghalu. We have to take a short break now. When we return, we'll have more questions for you. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still with Chief George Moghalu, the National Auditor of the All Progressives Congress at our Abuja studios. Welcome back, sir. Before the break, you were saying that the Staff Audit Committee, there's no cause for alarm, but that's not what has been reported, sir. You might be aware that it's been reported that some of the APC staff are rather nervous and unsure of their true standing. Some of them reported to work without letters of appointment, without relevant certificates. So some of them are running scared. That is the report, and that there's actually a boycott because there's some interest that do not want the staff audit to be conducted.
I think you're operating on the realm of speculation. I'm telling you as an insider, in fact, the member secretary of the committee, yes, that there's nothing of sort.
Okay.
Nothing of sort. Nothing of sort.
Thanks for clarifying.
And still on party politics, I'd like to speak about something on a more federal level. Recently, the president replaced his economic management team, with an economic advisory council, appointing what was described by Bismarck Rowane when he came on the show as a team of economists and economic thinkers. Now, a lot of reports came out following this speaking about the disempowerment, or alleged disempowerment, should we say, of the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. What is your take on what is going on with regards to the duties that the Vice President is being relieved of? Is this a form of disempowerment, as is being claimed by a lot of members of the public? Or is this simply the government actually just taking another look at things and turning some tables around to make changes that they feel may be better for governance?
Oh, well, you have already answered the question because you said that the speculation is alleged disempowerment of the vice president. And I don't think that's true. Government is a continuum. Government is a team. And whatever the spokesman for the presidency has said with regards to this should be taken as the true position. I don't think that these speculations are necessary. The important thing is that our government is together. Our government is a team. The president and the vice president are working very closely, and the institution of the presidency is one. It is not broken into groups or factions.
Well, that's because those speculations, I'm sure they don't surprise you, because since the advent of the Fourth Republic, we have never had a situation as we do now, where the vice president is not heading the economic team. Not even when Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was coordinating minister, we still had Namadi Sambo heading the economic team. So this is a breach of the usual protocol that we've become accustomed to. But my question for you, sir, is the competence, the caliber of the team has been widely praised as the best thinkers, the highest professionals, and often they've been critical of the government. So the president has been praised for allowing such people access to him. But competence is one thing, capacity to advise is quite another. What do you say to those who fear that the president might not heed whatever advice is given to him?
Well, we try to preempt the president. The point is that he put the team together. If he wouldn't want to listen to them, why put them? That is the question. So why are we being speculative? Why are we thinking for him? Why are we trying to say what he has not even said or what he has never thought to say? The truth here remains that a good team has been put in place. What we should do as a people is to encourage them, to support them, and watch them deliver.
Well, absolutely, but I think a lot of the speculations are quite valid. For example, the new Economic Advisory Council is going to be meeting once a month, but they're only going to be meeting with the president quarterly, which means 4 times a year, of course. Is this enough? Is it enough for the president to only get the direct feedback quarterly?
You're not correct. You're not correct.
Okay, do correct me, sir.
No, you're not correct. If you read properly the statement made by Femi Adesina, he said that if there is the need for them to see the president, they will see the president. It's an advisory team. If there's a need for them to see the president, not necessarily. You see, you can have a fixed meeting periods, but if there are needs that come up on daily basis for you to see the approving or appointing authority, why not? Why not? It's a matter of asking that you want to see Mr. President, and I'm sure Mr. President will grant them audience, realizing the fact that he put them together to advise him. So it's not fixed that it must be quarterly, no. I read the statement, like every other Nigerian, in the papers. At least a paragraph was credited to the fact that they can see the president when they want to see the president. It's clearly written there. So it's not fixed that it must be quarterly.
So let's go to APC, the national chairman of APC's comments with regards to the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. He put his comrade cap back on and called for the nationalization of South African businesses. What are your thoughts on that? And what, to you, in your opinion, is the way forward with regards to this horrible impasse that has occurred in the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa?
It's sincerely most unfortunate, very unfortunate. And let me correct this impression. The position Mr. Chairman aired to Nigerians is not his personal position. It's the position of the National Working Committee of the party that he spoke on their behalf. That is our position, and we felt very bad about it. However, sight should not be lost of the fact that the South African leadership, the president precisely, has taken the initiative to go around and apologize to broader African countries on what really happened. What happened is unfortunate, very sad, because we're talking about Africa. I remember as a young person the sacrifices made by Nigerians to fight apartheid in South Africa. We are doing it because we believe that we are one and the same people. And turning around this time around to bring in this issue of a xenophobic attack is just unacceptable. So we reacted based on the spur of the moment. But however, like I said, new developments have come up. The South African government has initiated a process of reconciliation and apologizing to broader African countries, and that should not be ignored. It's a step in the right direction.
So you're accepting the olive branch that South Africa has offered, and you're going to shelve the idea of nationalization as a result. I just need to clarify.
I may not say that now, because for me to say that, I must have to get the permission of the National Working Committee. We are going to look at it again, look at new developments, and then come up with a new position. But the truth still remains, we reacted based on the information available to us at that time.
But I have to ask you as well, we have tried nationalization before when Olusegun Obasanjo was head of state in 1976. It was a failure. If at all that policy is going to be reintroduced as a response to this issue or any other, how should it be modified?
The circumstances then and the circumstances now are certainly very different. And we are going to deal with the issues as we look at them, with the information available to us. It's not about trying to compare what happened in 76 and what is going to happen in 2019. For crying out loud, that's quite a long distance. So we need to look at the issues at stake and then address them to relate with the circumstances at present.
Okay, well, we look forward to hearing what the National Working Committee comes out with in that case in terms of the developments. I'd like to move us on to something that is topical, something that we are seeing in our newspapers today. The headline reads, despite $81 billion debt burden, Nigeria seeks a $2.5 billion World Bank loan. Now, we're adding to our debts, we're increasing our debt profile, and this is not necessarily something that the public, based on what I've sensed so far, necessarily see as a positive thing. We are also the second largest recipients of donor aid in Africa, and clearly we continue to dip our hands in the cookie jar. And people are starting to wondering what the effects of all these loans that we continue to take from Bretton Woods institutions are really having on Nigerians socioeconomically, most importantly. What is your take on this new request for a loan of $2.5 billion that the ruling party or the government has put into place?
Like you rightly said, the way you started, you said that it just came out today in the papers. I don't have any information as regards to the basis for the loan, so I may not effectively comment on that. But however, when I make inquiries, read the document, find out what the situation is, then I'll be in a position to make informed assessment. But what I know of a certainty is that government just don't borrow for borrowing's sake. There may be need that needs to be addressed. There may be to bridge a gap and things like that. But like I said, I need to be properly informed. I need to be properly briefed for me to be able to make informed opinion.
That's okay, Chief. But do you think that the reason why we continue to increase our debt profile is also because we're not really looking out to other options in terms of how we can create a long-term and sustainable impact on our country? Because really and truly, donor aid and going towards looking for loans is always short-term on a very grand scale, especially for a country of 200 million people. So is it that the government is not that focused on alternatives? Because a lot of loans seem to have been taken from Bretton Woods institutions. I'm actually asking for your personal take, not the take of the party.
Yeah, the truth about it here is that government is making solid investments in areas of infrastructure. You must not lose sight of the fact that government just don't borrow because they want to borrow. They borrow either to close a gap, like I said, or they are borrowing to invest in infrastructure development. One thing you must give this government as credit is that investments are being made to diversify the economy, to open up
Chief,
new
unfortunately, we've run out of time. I didn't get to ask you if APC has submitted their audited reports as required by the Electoral Act. But we've run out of time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Chief.
Most unfortunately.
It's time now for a short break. When we are back, it'll be time for us to have a chat with Dr. Sam Amadi, public affairs analyst and governorship aspirant and former chairman